All that is solid melts into air. All that is holy is profaned. All that is meaningful turns into...
Vanity project.
It's a chart topper.
Vanity.
Midlife crisis.
Midlife crisis.
Not midlife crisis. Midlife clarity.
They're arrogant.
Nice if you like.
Midlife clarity.
Menopause.
Oh, menopause?
Your little vanity
Yeah,
project.
I'm losing my edge.
It's a vanity project.
I stared into the abyss.
I'm losing my
A
edge.
cash grab vanity project.
That little vanity project.
It's tremendous. I love it.
It's just a vanity project.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Vanity Project.
Excuse me? Thank you so much for the emails we are receiving at beautifulfairyprincess@vanityproject.skin. Ross refuses to believe that I have not, in fact, authored them all. But I think finally an email has hit your sites that has changed all of that.
Well, yeah, somebody called me a stallion.
It was a lovely bloke who said, well, I remember you from the radio, but I've never heard of this Ross Flowchart, but my God, what a stallion.
Yeah, well noticed, sir. Before we go on, I realise that you can't see out the window as well as I can, but there's somebody out the front of our house trying to steal a Volkswagen Touareg right now, and I'm enjoying every second of it.
Oh, really? Can you give me a description?
So out the front there is, I think that it's a T7 model Touareg, so the second model.
Am I looking right or left?
So you're looking at the person at the moment who's currently trying to break into the black SUV out the front of the house. It's going down, looking at the tyres. Old mate's having a bit of a gander. I reckon he's, I don't know, it's not his car, but he would like it to be his car.
Ross and his 2020 vision will keep you updated throughout today's program as somebody tries to jimmy a car. Now, Stallion,
Yes.
as much as we like to discuss our own bodies, our own minds, our own spirits,
Our bodies ourselves.
if you will. Yes, there is now a feminist library wing at Shea Float, aka
Chateau Bin Chicken, thank you very much.
Chateau Bin Chicken. I'll ask you to explain the etymology of your house's official name in future episodes. Our Bodies Ourselves, the name of a tome published in 1972 by the Boston Women's Health Collective.
Sounds like lady stuff.
It is lady stuff. That's why it's in the Ross Float commemorative feminist library wing of Chateau Bin Chicken.
If it's a black cover, it would be next to Cultural Amnesia by Clive James, maybe?
I don't mind cultural amnesia. Do you know I interviewed Clive for that very book while he was still with us?
Oh, nice. I kind of loved Clive for a number of reasons, mostly because he was a bit of a rat bag, and I love a rat bag.
And a magnificent stylist of prose.
Yes, delightful.
Thought all the wrong things, but his television criticism was nonpareil.
In high school, I won some kind of a prize, maybe the prize for English Lit or some, like one of those things where they go, you're very good, here's a voucher, go and buy a book, and then you'll be given it by the headmaster. And I purchased with that money,
Unreliable memoirs.
boom, the one where he said that Germaine Greer chased him up a tree.
Yes. I remember in the introduction it says most first books are autobiography thinly disguised as a novel. This is a novel thinly disguised as an autobiography.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that might have been the start of my fascination with Romaine Rand.
Romaine Rand. Who's Romaine Rand?
Germaine Greer.
Oh.
That's the Germaine Greer character in the book is Romaine Rand, who chases him up a tree.
Oh, I can't recall that.
Oh, I remember it quite well. And then somebody, when I was waiting for the bus, put a whole bunch of chewing gum inside the pages, so a couple of chapters that were hard to read.
It is a marvellous gift to give your narcissistic adolescent who's a bit too clever for their own good. If you'd like to inflate their ego and fill their heads with long gone and impossible dreams of a sophisticated life at universities that existed for a millisecond, give them Unreliable Memoirs. I'm completely unsurprised to find out that you were also a fan of that book.
Oh, yeah, because Clive was always talking about, like, you know, not having a dad and growing up in Houso.
Yes.
Which was just like me because, you know, I had both of my parents who were both ably employed and
He was from Cogra.
I'm not a fan of New South Wales, Helen. I'm sorry to...
The entire colony.
most of it. I mean, I like it once you get west of the dividing range. Like once the dirt goes from brown to orange to red.
Yes.
I like that part.
Yes.
People out there, real Australians.
This podcast comes to you from the colony of Victoria, which is quite distinct from the colony of New South Wales. We have different football codes, but not only that, they call potato cakes scallops.
Oh my God. It was one of my favourite internet things of all time when my friend Kate started that entire thing about potato cakes, potato scallops, and there's another thing that South Australians use, I think, like potato biscuits or something weird over there.
Well, they're just intolerable.
That's right.
And let's not also forget people in barrels. Here on Vanity Project, where we still haven't got to our initial segment, Fit and Trim. Take it away, Bitsy.
They're lifting weights between visits to doctors. Shit wellness books and hot stones engulf them. Multiple Fitbits are strapped to their skin. And they've also got a podcast.
So we're not going to talk about ourselves today.
I think that's good because I've done very little. Because as you know, I'm gainfully employed now.
You're gainfully employed.
Let's just say I'm employed. I'm making flowcharts for people. And I think that's a job for real people. But I've done almost nothing. I've been receiving WhatsApp messages from my weights guy, and I've been avoiding them a little bit.
And currently, your beloved mutt is chewing my rocker bottom hockers. The kind of shoe that I would actually recommend for the midlife runner. If you're experiencing osteoporosis in your big toe, why not get a rocker bottom shoe? Another update I'd like, other than my arthritis, how is the car theft outside the house going?
So
What's going on?
He's now standing by another car and also taking photographs of the inside of the car.
There's a bloke in the cap there, right?
That's the bloke in the cap. So currently he has gone from the...
Sorry, is he holding a jimmying instrument in his hand?
Yes, he is.
Even I can see that.
Yes, he is. And he's wearing a black hat, black tracksuit pants. He looks like a chubby version of me.
And shorter, somewhat shorter.
Yeah, okay. So basically he just looks like a man. He has a beard. He's carrying one of those things that looks like a little hacksaw blade, and he's going from car to car, just having a bit of a go.
And he's actually taking notes.
Yeah.
He's taking notes about his larceny opportunities, and I have to say, I admire his whole unabashed vibe. Don't you?
So, yeah, absolutely.
Like, he's heedless.
Anytime somebody is just like, this is what I'm doing.
And surely he can see us staring at him.
I don't think so. Who would ever think that a couple of people wearing headphones are going to do anything about this apart from commentate upon it?
By the way, if this ever reaches the ears of any part of the constabulary, I am an unreliable witness and I have very poor sight. And Ross himself has been befuddled by too many flowcharts and cannot be relied upon either. But this is some...
He's been on the good paddock though, hasn't he?
Jesus. I mean, he does not give a fuck.
He is just a man getting around, letting people know which cars are easy to steal.
I'm a little bit in love with him. He's just seen us, hasn't he?
Not yet.
Hey.
Don't wave.
Okay, sorry.
You got to remember, I live here.
Oh, I am sorry. I am sorry. And let him not get away with your... May I mention the preferred model of your...
No, you may not.
The preferred make of your car. Come on, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Not for operational security reasons.
Oh, okay.
I don't want people to know that I drive Swedish cars.
It's a hilarious car as your favourite car.
And people will be able to guess. It's very on brand for me.
I know.
A car that is idiosyncratic.
A car that can not easily be fixed. A car that is...
I had to spend $2,000 on a new starter motor recently.
Oh, there we go. Will you produce some more of those flowcharts?
That's right. That cost me 6 flowcharts. It cost me 6 flowcharts to make that. Where are we next, Helen?
So, Ross,
Rose.
Are you a ticklish person?
No, I am not. I was abused with being tickled when I was younger, and I've managed to switch it off.
Did you have a teacher who was a tickler?
No, I came from a family of tickle abuse.
I think it's a real thing.
It's definitely a thing. Some families are big ticklers, and there was more tickling than I think was reasonable when I was growing up.
And there was tickling that moved from sort of light, comedic, loving tickling into quite harsh tickling.
Yes, absolutely. Through to what these days would be considered abuse and might get you... I'm not saying it was Scoutmaster level abuse, but not something that I would wish on anybody.
I am ticklish.
I feel your pain.
No, I mean, I kind of delight in tickling. Interestingly enough, I found this in, I'm on the mailing list for, I think it's Science Daily, one of those things, one of those subscriptions I've not bothered to end. Just let the endless deluge continue to my inbox, people. I don't mind a bit. Somehow or another, though, I got on a Sam Harris list. Unsubscribing from that is impossible.
No, that's right.
God, he's a tedious fuck.
Yeah, look, I will admit to having read The Moral Landscape when I first got an iPad and showing my iPad to my mum, saying, "Look, iPads are great. You would like this because you can read books on it." And I handed over my iPad and I was reading The Moral Landscape by Sam Harris, and she went, "What's this bullshit? You think you're fucking better than us?"
Fair enough.
Right. At the time I was hurt, but she was 100% correct.
No. That's a good, and it's interesting that you mentioned it because in Science Daily, there's a recent article entitled "Why, After 2,000 Years, We Still Don't Know How Tickling Works." Sam Harris, Dr. Sam Harris, his PhD came from an arts degree.
Oh, he's got a PhD in keeping it real.
He's got a PhD in the non-science of neuroscience.
Oh, okay.
And the primary interview subject, the primary resource, is in fact a neuroscientist called Konstantina Kileni.
Like Margarita Prakatan.
Very, very similar. Another Clive James reference there for those among the faithful. #problematic.com, Clive James, rather in the way that Christopher Hitchens was. But you can forgive so much when somebody's witty. Isn't that terrible?
Oh, yes. Well,
I wish I could be one of those people who, instantly dismisses an artistic oeuvre just because the person's a fuckwit, but I simply cannot. Annie Hall's a fucking great movie. It is objectively a fucking great movie.
Sure. I mean, I wasn't expecting to get into this, but yeah, I'm easily able to separate the art from the artist. No problems at all.
It's not even a matter of separation, is it? I mean, I find it difficult to conflate art with artist.
Oh, do you?
Well, yeah, oftentimes, I'll use, you may notice I'm wearing my David Lynch badge from Temu today because I'm still in mourning for the great man. As far as I know, the creepiest thing that David Lynch ever did in his life was all of the films he made. And fuck me, they're creepy.
Yeah, no, creepy as shit.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
But
I can't listen to Michael Jackson music now. I didn't like it in the first place, but now I like it even less.
Well, because they made an HBO documentary with, two blokes on it who said he did bad, and this is irrefutable evidence.
Or mostly because of the raping.
All right. Well, me and my lately departed cousin Wendy don't believe it's true.
Okay. Then here we shall depart.
He was just a childlike wonder who enjoyed cuddling children. What's wrong with you? Where's your sense of innocence, Ross Float? Do you really think he was a rapey?
I think that there's enough suggestion of rapiness that I can't listen to the record Bad, for example, where he says throughout the entire record that he is bad and he's done terrible things, and the entire message of the record is, please stop me from doing more crimes.
I'll have to give it another listen with the Float interpretation in mind.
Please do. No, or don't. As I said, don't give Spotify 1/1000th of a cent for that.
Why?
Well, somebody will get 1/1000th of a cent.
And another child will be raped as a result.
Or a monkey might be fed.
Yes. the tickling thing.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, it is an intriguing thing to think that nobody knows why it works, why nobody knows what the complex neurological, physical and emotional response is that prevents one from tickling oneself. Tickling must involve not even the element of surprise, because I'm sure when you were tickle tortured by either your mother or her Stasi-like network of spies. Hello, Mrs. Float. I actually can't wait to meet you. You sound like a love.
She's a delight. But I believe that tickling comes into a group of behaviours that Dr. Peter McGraw, have I told you about my friend Dr. Peter McGraw?
You have told me about your friend Dr. Peter McGraw.
So Peter McGraw used to run the Humour Research Lab, and his idea was that most comedy was about benign violation, and that tickling is probably in the group of benign violations. It's something that
That's fascinating.
is something that is violating.
Why haven't we spoken to your friend?
Because he's a massive podcaster now. He's a huge deal.
Oh, okay,
Peter.
okay.
But his idea is that most humour is about benign violation.
It's definitely about a form of transgression, like a barely tolerable transgression.
That's right, but it's benign, right? So it's not at the level of calling the police yet, but it's certainly transgressive.
Yeah.
And I think tickling comes into that spot. It's you've had your personal space invaded. You've certainly had your nervous system used against you, but it's probably not enough to go and get a weapon about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should get Peter on.
Yeah, I mean, if he could talk to us about tickling and jokes, or just jokes, or the fact that he had a comedy lab, that would be great.
A government-funded, not government-funded, but a university-funded comedy lab. Yeah, it was called HURL, the Humour Research Lab.
Neuroscience, in many cases, is just a form of phrenology with MRIs. I mean, I'm not very good at the science. I'm not a woman in STEM, but I do think that I have enough reason to know that when somebody holds up an fMRI and says, see, this part of the brain lights up, that is essentially meaningless.
I agree. Whenever something like that happens, I'm like, well, so what's the rest of the brain doing? Just hanging around, doing nothing, having a bludge?
Well,
I don't believe in it.
Where's our gent?
Oh, hang on a second.
Here on Vanity Project, where we're watching not one.
Oh, no, he is he's changed hats. Bonnet of the Tuareg is up. There's another guy there who is wearing a...
These are definitely not people from the RACV.
No. So the bonnet of the Tuareg is up. There is another guy here also in black tracksuit. He's wearing a New York Mets beanie. And they are currently having a little bit of a go at the battery.
And a rather loud conversation. Mm-hmm. Completely unabashed. So where were we? Neuroscience.
Neuroscience, we don't believe in it. Tickling, we think it's some kind of a violation.
Neuroscience is often used in the news because it sounds like a science. As I said with Sam Harris, for example, one gets an arts degree, and if you get a first, then you can do a PhD in neuroscience. Although
but you get your master's by coursework and then you do 2 more years of just having a bludge.
What's happened to universities? Ever since they've become entirely vocational, professionalised places, and there's this entire, not only with undergraduates who simply have to have the piece of paper in order to earn over $40,000 a year. In addition to that, all of the research that comes out of universities is highly politicised, of benefit only to the organisations affording the award money. I mean, they've become peculiar. Thank goodness you and I went to university at a time where nothing was expected of us.
I agree wholeheartedly. When I went to university, I believe that nobody expected anything from me and they got what they paid for.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in Australia there was a blissful 14 years of free university education, legitimately free, from 1974, I think, until 1988 when HEX was brought in.
Yeah.
So there's
88 or 89, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so there's a really sort of like marginal part, unfortunately most of whom are in governmental power now, who had this experience. And you grow up when you are in so-called Generation X and some boomers, you grow up with the expectation, I suppose, that, I can go to art school or I can do a degree in anthropology in order to sort of like replicate the idea of an Oxford gentleman. I'll become a better citizen because of my education. And the funny thing is, I think, in those pre-vocational days is that was actually true. Without that tertiary education that answered questions for me about the broader function of the bigger world, I would be a lot more fucked up than I am. No, but seriously, having an intellectual framework to understand larger structures has kept me from the suicidal abyss on more than one occasion. Yes or no?
Well, I'm still here, so potentially. What did I get from university? What I got from university was, I guess the ability to have an understanding of the way to understand things.
Yeah. And
more than anything else.
And also, I think it got me to the point where I understood that the world, being as complex as it is, as it has become, and like everything, things become more complex the longer they're around from any life form or system of life form. So human society is now inordinately complex to the point that it's inscrutable. It's opaque. You're never going to understand everything. And that was a very powerful lesson. When one is young or when one, manages to maintain that sense of hope that one can understand the world and then perhaps explain it by saying, well, capitalism is good or natural by explaining circumstances as they are and saying they're working fine, or by acknowledging they're not and then offering conspiracy theories, so-called conspiracy theories. And I totally understand why people come up with them, because it comes from the idea people are lying to us. And yes, indeed they are, just not about what you think. So to understand that the world is opaque, that I will never understand all its parts and that nobody can, and that there is no single discipline or number of disciplines that can explain those things, made me relax somewhat.
Yeah, well, the world is a system of systems, right? And it's almost impossible to understand the overarching system because there really isn't one. There's a group of combating and sometimes overlapping systems. Understanding one at a time is useful. Trying to make them all be an overarching system, no, that way lies madness.
If you're having a good brain and patience day, there's an essay by Theodore Adorno, and it's called The Stars Down to Earth. Have a little look. You can get a free copy on the internet fairly easily. It might even be out of copyright. And he talks about the Los Angeles Times horoscope column. He was one of the Frankfurt School.
Okay, go on.
And he talks about astrology as a method of understanding the world that brings people a lot of comfort. And the analogy is between that and other simple forms of understanding the world. And even then, in the 1950s, he says, of course, the world is opaque and all we can have is a veneer of understanding. Just because it's too complex, it's not a mystery, but it's too fucking complex.
I don't disagree. I have particular problems with horoscopes, but
so did he, very much. But it was a way of getting into the understanding of the hegemonic kind of explanations that people have for why things are.
Well, I think people have an almost innate requirement for a couple of things. One is people have a requirement for ideas of sacred. People have an innate requirement for an understanding of what's profane, and also a desire to understand some kind of semblance of what's going on, whether it works or not.
Yeah.
And astrology isn't the worst version of it. It's reasonably harmless. Doesn't harm me. It only harms 1/12 of the world at any particular time.
That's true. Well, that's if you don't include your ascendant sign. Yeah. I'm sure that there are many.
Sorry. It depends on if you're dating somebody who really cares about it. Then it fucks your life all the time.
Yeah. It has become very popular with the millennial generation. And no, this is the fact. It's making more money now than it has for a very, very long time.
I've not met a single man in my life who has ever said, "Hey, what's your star sign?" It's not.
It's all chicks.
Yeah.
Because we're closer to nature, you see. And we can feel things in our waters.
I was going to ask if you felt it.
We are vessels
Yes.
for universal fluids so tender that I know when my Mercury's in fucking Gemini. Let me tell you that. Actually, my Mercury is in Gemini.
Whereas as a mere man, I have no understanding of even where the moon is at any particular time.
No, you wouldn't. It's sad. It's sad for you because my gender, my biological sex or gender or what have you, whatever, we're so in tune with the entire universe, which is why we can ask things of it and it unfailingly delivers. And that's why my life is so fucking good. Here on Vanity Project, where I have a big skin cancer on my nose that I cannot currently afford to get chopped off. So just sort of finishing on the tickling thing, though, that I quite like. Don't worry, my nose will be fine. So I was looking here and it's not only humans that have been tested in rather like your friend Peter's humour lab. This Dr. Killenny has a tickling lab. And I think it essentially consists of a chair and then there is a box in which one puts one's feet and then there is a mechanical tickling device.
This sounds like the evil version of whatever Temple Grandin did with cows.
Oh, God. Temple Grandin.
That's not...
She's neurospicy.
Yeah.
She's neurospicy. Therefore, according to Dr. Kilkenny, whatever her fucking name is, I'm never going to remember, more prone to be ticklish.
Really?
People on the spectrum are far more, and she is, known for her autism spectrum disorder. She's still with us, Temple Grandin, isn't she?
As I understand it, yeah, still leading cows off to the slaughter.
Yes. Well, like a lot of people with autism spectrum disorder, she knows the best way to hug, the most non-intrusive way to hug. Hug a cow and it'll be far happier when it dies.
Best way to get a burger.
A hugged cow.
That's right.
It is quite funny with Temple Grandin, isn't it? Because I think it's one of those sort of cognitively dissonant moments for our woke friends because on the one hand, woman, spectrum. On the other hand, not terribly vegan. It was like that year that a female jockey lady, which is, I believe, what they're professionally called.
Female jockey ladies?
A female jockey lady won the Melbourne Cup. On the one hand, it is horse racing, not terribly vegan. On the other hand, woman. I love it when they get confused. Don't you? You just look at their little faces and you think, you poor little darling. Anyway, so there's a tickling lab and she's tested on other primates, but also on rats. Now,
okay.
Who'd tickle a rat?
We both found what we were looking for.
I'd tickle a rat for money.
How much money would you have to be paid to tickle a rat? I can't imagine a sum that would equal that. I'm a little mirophobic. I do not enjoy the rat.
It wouldn't take me that much money. It would probably take 1/3 of a flowchart, I reckon. It wouldn't be huge amounts of money. It'd be tens of dollars. Like I would want the rat to be encased and just have like a tickling hole that I could tickle it through the tickle hole.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to have like a live rat running around that I had to chase down to tickle.
Well, we do share something like 99% of our DNA with rats. Do you think they're also armpits? I wonder. If you know anything about the ticklishness of rats and whether ticklishness varies from rat to rat, why not email a professional, not me, at beautifulfairyprincess@vanityproject.com. Look, I'm not...
vanityproject.skin.
Skin! Vanity project. See, I'm not my best self today.
We're going to get so many things from the rat people because the rat people do love their rats.
Do
love
they?
them. Oh, they love their rats.
Yeah. Well, that's nice for them.
Mm-hmm.
And their companion rats.
They're nice if you like them.
And now it's time for things that should be true. Hit it, Bitsy.
They know it's business goose.
All right. Anything you want to be true, but and not wildly confident that is?
Well, I've got something that I'm saving, but I've been looking at the running sheet, which you have very, very kindly sent through to me today, and I'm going to hold mine back because you've got a great one here, which reminds me of, my misspent youth with weird hair.
Ross used to have luxurious long hair. Now he has a luxurious short hair that no comb can get through.
No, exactly.
It seems the older you get, the more lush your head of hair.
That's right.
It is a challenge to all other men of your age.
It is lustrous. I cannot get a comb through it. But I used to have dreadlocks and they were terrible.
Have you ever heard the story about the person who, well, often in the story is a white person with dreadlocks? So if you're in any way sane and you have a moral compass, you immediately hate them. Because there is no fucking excuse to be a white person with dreadlocks. Anyway.
I had them from the ages of 19 to 27.
Were you told off?
All the time.
You actually had dreadlocks. Was it an accident?
I just have really curly hair and I had long hair. They just happen. That's what happens if you have very curly long hair.
Well,
and you don't pay any attention to it.
So they actually turned into dreadlocks.
Yeah, so not like the twisty ones that look like some kind of very well put together form of hair pasta. I just had matted hair that just kind of, I looked like the lead singer from Swerve Driver.
I love Swerve Driver.
Of course you do. All right thinking people do.
Fucking didn't they rock?
They sure did. They toured a couple of years ago. Adam Franklin's
Of course
his
they
name.
did. Of course they did. All of those special 90s bands know that they have an audience in us.
That's right. That's exactly right. They'll play at the Croxton. They get 1,200 people there.
Yeah, so they should. I love that kind of like half riffing. I don't know what their guitar tuning in is, but it's bizarre. Mm-hmm. It's really good.
But anyway, so I had that kind of hair.
Okay, so not proper dreadlocks. Just filth. Which is odd because Ross Float did grow into not only a stallion, but a terribly well-groomed man.
Yeah, there is a very long story about that is probably longer than a podcast episode, but...
Is it to do with your wife?
To do with my former partner. Oh. Not my current pelvic affiliate.
Significant other, right out. My partner, right out. Pelvic affiliate.
That's right.
Brilliant. Anyway, so white person with dreadlocks who's not Ross, who
Not
has
me.
Swerve Driver coils. It generally goes, and there was a predecessor to this story about the child who has a spider bite. And then at some juncture later, the mother takes the baby to the hospital who's had a spider bite sometime after because the kid is complaining of headaches, opens the cranium up, finds spider eggs inside the head. Now, I've heard people swear black, blue, and the entire spectrum of colour, the entire hexadecimal wheel, that they know somebody who knows somebody that had this exact thing happen in their dreadlocks.
Never happened to me.
See, I wish it had have.
Look, I think I found one time a ring tie, the old bread tie, but nothing.
Any guitar
worse than that.
picks?
No, I was a drummer at that stage.
Yeah. Ladies' scanties?
I don't think I actually found anything particularly bad in there.
How did you wash them, or did you not?
Well, you don't. I mean, who washes their hair? This is the thing. No, I don't wash my hair now.
What?
Why would I wash my hair?
What do you mean you don't wash your hair?
I wash my beard and my face, but I don't wash my hair.
Why would you not wash your hair?
I don't know, natural oils, that sort of thing.
That's a very vague answer. Natural oils and that sort of thing. I mean, would you apply the same logic to your nether regions?
No, I wouldn't.
So why apportion natural oils, that sort of thing, great brevity and conviction in your tone, but actually
Because I have tremendously curly hair, incredibly curly hair. And if I wash it, it is an absolute nightmare. So I just don't wash it. I just let it.
what do you mean
do
a
its thing.
nightmare?
Incredibly tight curls. And I go instantly Leo Sayer. In the past 30 years, I would have washed my hair fewer than 100 times.
Can I smell it?
Sure.
All right, well, we'll leave that till after the show.
Mm-hmm.
Here on Vanity Project, you may recall that there are not one anymore, but two gentlemen outside considering jimmying several cars. And have there been any cars removed from your picturesque street, Ross Float?
Yes, one car has been removed, another car is still there. The car that they were going through the bonnet of remains there. That would be the Volkswagen Touareg. But the car that was behind it has departed.
I think we're going to have to dispense with shit show in Egypt this week. Oh,
Sure.
My heavens. I hear a generation sigh for lack. But I did want to say that improve your word power by murdering one expression per day is something to which we will return. Has there been anything on your radar, such as on your radar, that you would like to excise from common parlance, Ross?
Run it to ground is one of the things that comes up in consulting all of the time.
Now, run it to ground means, what does it mean? Flay something until it's dead?
Well, I think it means exhaust all opportunities or exhaust all avenues, but it just means do this.
Right. So run it to ground
Run it
seems...
to ground. Run that to ground, Ross.
Because that would imply to a business layperson, such as myself, to flay it until its death. Kill something undesirable.
Yeah. Well, it just kind of means this is your job now.
Right. Run it to ground.
Just run it to ground. Go and exhaust all opportunities for this to be either exploited or for it to be a problem that comes back to us.
Right. It's not salting the earth or anything.
No.
It's a bad expression then.
It's a terrible expression. I would like to use it less. I do find myself using it because people know what I mean.
Yeah.
When somebody gives me a problem and it is my job to go out and
Run it to ground.
yeah, then I say I'll run it to ground.
Okay.
And I'll make some flowcharts.
Yeah. When are you going to start making films? You're good at that shit. When are you going to start make the masses happy? You've got it in you, love.
Maybe if people saw my flowcharts, they'd also be happy.
I doubt it. I doubt it very much. Look, I know you're reasonably well remunerated for doing this kind of thing, but do you not ever get the itch to give what's inside of you to the world, Ross?
Yes, I do. Absolutely.
What you've got to get it, put it in us. Do you feel no obligation? Because you know you're a fucking artist, right?
Oh, I'm a...
Oh, shut up, right? You've got things. You've got skills with the
Yes.
video. You've got ideas. You have a logical brain and are quite capable of storyboarding something. Where the fuck is your documentary?
It's not there yet, Helen.
Make the world a better, more entertaining place and stop making business efficacious. Throw your life away like I did.
Come the glorious revolution, perhaps I shall do that.
Okay, of course you will. He's actually very talented. Shh, don't tell him. Another such expression comes to us from Justine T, who emailed me at beautifulfairyprincess@vanityproject.skin. Justine is just shat by the expression, which she says she hears as almost a form of Tourette's in terms of.
Yeah, that one is very much a verbal tick.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
I think people mean to use it to frame something, but it just comes out as nothing. It's just a...
Yeah. I mean, there are technical applications, so as to say ideology, and I'm using the term ideology in the terms of Marx and Engels, right? So in terms of Marx and Engels, I use something like that, or I'm using the word unprecedented in terms of medical science. not as in common parlance. So I imagine in that, but yeah, so
But not what would you like to get in terms of breakfast,
yeah,
which is the way that people tend to use it.
yeah, in
It's-
terms of breakfast.
Yeah, what would you like in terms of breakfast? Obviously not avocado toast.
There's probably a neuroscientist who's made breakfast a special area of study. Just back to neuroscience for a
This is
minute.
back to the breakfast research lab at University of Colorado.
Just in terms of breakfast and in terms of neuroscience, did you see there was a dreadful, dreadful program on SBS, hardly an unprecedented event, but it was called How Racist Are You? Yeah, I know. I know. Like, apparently there's a gradation of manufactured hatred for other tribes, right?
Yeah, like a net promoter score for being horrible.
Neuroscience, not a science, an evolved phrenology that uses a few machines. You know phrenology, you know what I mean when I say phrenology, right?
People like phrenology if they have attractive skulls.
Phrenology, if you've not encountered the quite antique word before, is a quasi-mystic late 19th century science. There's a shop called Remo back in the 90s that you might remember that sold silly stuff. You probably did some of their graphic design.
I may have. There was,
Oh, it was a very beautiful catalogue, and you could buy a phrenology skull, and different sections of the brain are intended to represent different functions. They're quite hilarious.
Oh,
It's
I know.
all just made up.
I think I bought one at some point. One of the little skulls. You could check which part was giving you anger or crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've got the crime lumps.
Yeah. Have you got the overtly libidinal lumps? Have you got the good hair lumps? Probably all of the above.
Yep.
But I think it was hosted by Yasmin Abdel Fattah, the young woman who was absolutely pilloried by News Limited, which puts her in a rather prestigious group, who spoke out, young engineer, not a writer or anything or an activist, who spoke out about what she perceived to be, quite rightly, a spot of racism at the Brisbane Writers' Festival, and became instantly notorious thanks to the servants of the Murdoch family. Anyhow, quite a telegenic lady. They got her to host this show called How Racist Am I? And they used neuroscience to prove levels of racism. Now, that's just bonkers.
Neuroscience is like sociobiology, right? It's just kind of the mashing together of two things that shouldn't really be together, like cabbage and jelly.
I think that there's more of an argument for sociobiology.
Right.
Like, there are some propositions that you think are worth entertaining. For example, why do people have more negative memories than they do positive memories? The thesis being, in this case, that it is an evolutionary impulse. That you remember negative things such as don't kiss that saber-toothed tiger because he might bite you back, and that this is better for the propagation of the species. I mean, I don't know enough about sociobiology to dismiss it entirely, and also it seems more fun. But neuroscience,
Sociobiology is a lot of fun, but it's largely, from my perspective, in terms of what I think, it is a lot of people saying, "Here's what I think, and here's how I can shoehorn it into a version of Darwinism that I skimmed."
yeah. And not even Darwin, but the other bloke who wasn't as good. Who actually, what was his name? The bloke who actually said survival of the fittest.
Oh, I don't remember because he didn't say it well enough.
No. Bitsy'll know. Tell us, Bitsy.
I believe Beautiful Fairy Princess here is referring to Alfred Russel Wallace, co-discoverer of evolutionary theory, although the term survival of the fittest was actually coined by Herbert Spencer.
You smartass. You've been listening to Vanity Project. Do you think that that's more than enough?
I think that is shitloads, Helen.
Yeah. So what do you got on for the rest of the day, dear?
More flowcharts. Just sitting here in front of the flowchart machine at the moment.
I'm taking my 92-year-old neighbour, Diane. I'm taking her in for an optometry appointment so she can get a free travel pass.
Excellent.
I'm a sucker.
You are mad for the free travel pass.
Oh, well, yeah, spread the love. Or indeed don't. Spread the disdain. But be well, comrade, and rage against some form of machine at some juncture this week. We will be back.
We will be back next week.
All right, bye.